Part 24. God Level Tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tien Taido. Chapter 232. The engineering manager came directly to Zhu Zigong, leaned a little closer to Zhu Zigong's ear, and whispered. What? How could you check it in the morning? Damn, I almost got killed by you. Thankfully I stopped to check it out. When Zhu Zigong heard the engineering manager's words, his expression suddenly changed. He had already confirmed one thing. This magic wheel really found a problem. Director Li, it's all thanks to you. Thank you so much for preventing an amusement accident from happening. Zhu Zigong said to Li Hao again, with lingering fear in his heart and a touch of gratitude in his voice. If Li Hao hadn't reminded him, the accident might have happened, and it was a serious accident. If it really happened, as the director of the park, he would definitely not be able to escape the involvement. It would be a trivial matter to lose his job, and he might even have to go to jail. Shen Mange next to him also widened his eyes. What? There is really a problem? Shen Mange asked in surprise. Zhu Zigong nodded directly, but looked at Li Hao curiously. Director Li, how did you know? Can I say, intuition? Li Hao laughed and said lightly. Huh? Intuition. When Zhu Zigong heard Li Hao's words, he was suddenly startled, but he didn't ask any more questions. Not long after, the screw was fixed and the inspection of the magic wheel was completed. There were no other problems and the entire magic wheel returned to normal operation. Back and forth, only a few minutes passed. The tourists sitting on the magic wheel didn't even know that they had escaped from the edge of danger. They didn't know anything, and they even spent a few more minutes watching the scenery of the magic city from high altitude. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for preventing an accident, saving hundreds of lives, and receiving a Rolls-Royce Cullinan and a luxury yacht Azam. But at this moment, a mechanical voice suddenly sounded in Li Hao's mind. It is the system prompt sound. The reward from the system actually arrived. This time it was quite fast. I just followed the prompts to avoid an accident, and now the reward has arrived. Li Hao of the yacht naturally knew it, but Li Hao of the Azam did not. So, Li Hao took out his cell phone and checked her directly. The Azam yacht is a super luxury yacht built by the Lursen shipyard in Chaiwo. The length of the yacht reaches 180 meters. It is currently the largest super yacht in the world. This yacht is 180 meters long. The height is equivalent to 12 double-decker buses. It has more than 50 guest rooms and cost more than 4 billion yuan. Damn it, a super yacht worth 4 billion. Li Hao was also shocked. This time the system did not reward airplanes and houses, but instead rewarded a yacht and a luxury car. A Rolls-Royce Cullinan, although not expensive, still costs several million. Right now, the system has rewarded me with many luxury cars. The system is awesome, YYDS. As a rich man, how could he not have a yacht? Li Hao has already imagined that in the future he will take all the beautiful women together on the yacht, wearing bikinis. Zintrsitzes. That's really cool. He didn't know where the yacht was now, and the system didn't give him any address or anything like that, but Li Hao didn't take care of it. The product produced by the system must be high quality, and it would never be compromised. In terms of rewards, Li Hao still believes in the system. Li Hao and Shen Mange were strolling around in this Haoshan world paradise. Li Hao, let's go ride that big pendulum. It looks very exciting. At a certain moment, Shen Mange's beautiful eyes fell on the big pendulum, and she couldn't help but say to Li Hao. I saw, in mid-air, tens of meters high, a super large pendulum was rotating. While the cockpit was rotating, the main shaft of the suspended cockpit was driven by the motor to make a single pendulum motion. Ah! The top of this super big pendulum is also full of tourists, and they are screaming loudly at this moment. Shen Mange looked at the scene with a look of excitement, a little scared, but also a little expectant. That's fine with me. But aren't you afraid? Li Hao said lightly. TCH, you underestimate me too much. I'm just a big pendulum. I will never be afraid. Shen Mange said with disdain again. Although he was actually very scared in his heart, he looked indifferent. Want to come? When Li Hao saw Shen Mange's look, he smiled again and asked directly. Up. Shen Mange also said in a solemn voice, with a straightforward look. The next moment, the two of them sat on the big pendulum. Buzz buzz. The big pendulum soon started to move, and then began to make a huge pendulum motion. Ah! A scream suddenly came from beside Li Hao, and Shen Mange, who was sitting next to Li Hao, turned a little pale at this moment. Ah! I want to go down. Ah! Shen Mange was so frightened that he turned pale and screamed repeatedly. He couldn't help but hold Li Hao's hand and closed his eyes. Li Hao next to him looked calm and looked at Shen Mange, who was holding his hand tightly, speechlessly. I said I would never be afraid. A few minutes later, the big pendulum stopped. Li Hao got off the seat easily, but Shen Mange next to him almost couldn't stand up. Her legs softened and she almost fell down. Fortunately, Li Hao next to him reacted quickly and supported Shen Mange in an instant. Shen Mange's pretty face couldn't help but blush again. It was really embarrassing. Next, Shen Mange and Li Hao played many amusement projects and spent a lot of money to buy many things. Shen Mange felt that she had never been so happy as today. It was not until the afternoon that the two of them left the Haoshan World Park again, feeling unsatisfied. Li Hao went back to the hotel first. Shen Mange was taken away by Zhang Wen. Go to sign the termination contract. Shen Mange has decided to terminate the contract with GE Entertainment, and due to Li Hao's identity and Shen Mange's relationship, Song Yi of GE Entertainment did not make any obstacles, but smoothly let Shen Mange terminate the contract. Later, Li Hao called Yang Tiancheng again and told him about Shen Mange. So, within one day, Shen Mange went from being a member of GE Entertainment to being a member of Yingdi Entertainment. Another day passed. This is the third day that Li Hao has been in Shanghai. Early in the morning, at the entrance of the La Shilton Hotel, a brand new blue Rolls-Royce attracted the attention of many people. This is a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. God-level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 233. This blue Rolls-Royce Cullinan appeared at the entrance of the Hilton Hotel and immediately attracted the attention of many people. This Rolls-Royce Cullinan looks very noble and majestic. Damn it, Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Which boss's new car is this? This car is so beautiful. A series of surprised voices suddenly came from the mouths of those around them. At this moment, next to the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, there was a middle-aged man in a suit and leather shoes standing there, and beside this middle-aged man, there were two younger brothers, who were also wearing suits. He even held documents in his hands. Li Hao and Shen Mange walked out of the hotel directly. Wow, what a handsome car! Shen Mange also saw the Rolls-Royce Cullinan for the first time and couldn't help but exclaimed in amazement. There's no one who doesn't like a car like the Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Just when Shen Mange was wondering whose car this was, the middle-aged man standing next to Rolls-Royce actually walked over to the side and came in front of the two of them. Hello, Mr. Li. I am the sales manager of the official authorized Rolls-Royce store in Shanghai. The Rolls-Royce Cullinan you ordered has been delivered. Please sign for it. The middle-aged man said directly to Li Hao with a respectful expression. Ah! Li Hao, does this Rolls-Royce belong to you? When Shen Mange heard this middle-aged man's words, his eyes widened again and he said in shock. Yes. I just bought it casually. How can I live without a car in Shanghai? Li Hao said directly again. Shen Meng's heart was undoubtedly more shocked. Just buy it casually. This car costs 6 to 7 million, right? Just buy it for fun? This is too arrogant. Okay. Thank you. At this time, Li Hao said to the sales manager again, then took the signature document from the other person's hand, and then signed his name. Mr. Li, the relevant documents for this car have been processed for you and placed on the car. If there is nothing else, we will leave first. If you have any questions related to this car, you can contact us at any time. The sales manager said to Li Hao again, and then left directly. Get in the car. Li Hao said to Shen Meng next to him. Good. Shen Meng nodded immediately, unable to contain his excitement. He opened the door of the Rolls-Royce Cullinan and got in. Wow, Li Hao, come in quickly. Wow, it's so comfortable in here. In the car, Shen Meng said excitedly. The interior of this Rolls-Royce Cullinan is extremely luxurious, using genuine leather, solid wood, and metal decoration, and the overall design is full of design. The new full LCD instrument panel adopts a three-circle instrument design, supplemented by virtual dials and pointer interiors. It will be extremely luxurious. Independent seats, and the two seats are separated by a wide center console, and a piece of glass is provided at the rear to separate the cabin from the trunk, so that the cabin can get better sound insulation performance and further improve comfort. The interior here is even more luxurious than that of the Mercedes-Benz S450. Li Hao also sat directly on the driver's seat. There's a lot of space and it doesn't feel crowded at all. There's no problem even doing exercises in the car. Buzz. The next moment, Li Hao started directly. The Rolls-Royce Cullinan suddenly started moving. Li Hao suddenly felt a comfortable push on his back. This car is really comfortable to drive and has a great experience. This is a joy to drive. Driving the car, Li Hao headed directly in one direction. Li Hao, where is your house? Shen Meng asked Li Hao in surprise again. Li Hao had already told her when he brought her out that he would take her to collect the house. This was also what Shen Meng had said before, but Shen Meng didn't know where Li Hao's house was. We'll find out when the time comes. Li Hao said calmly. If Shen Meng saw his house later, he didn't know what kind of wonderful expression he would have. Li Hao drove the Rolls-Royce Cullinan all the way west. Only half an hour later, we arrived at the edge of the Huangpu River. In front of you is a high-end community, and there are only 5 buildings in this community. The 5 tall buildings stand on the edge of the Huangpu River, reaching into the sky, more than 100 meters high. It consists of 4 extremely luxurious residences and 1 high-end club building, with the highest floor being 44 floors. The entrance is also very grand. A few big words show that this community is extraordinary. Thompson First Grade. That's right, those words are clearly Thompson First Grade. Li Hao directly parked the Rolls-Royce Cullinan in a parking space outside, and then the two got out of the car. Li Hao, the house you bought won't be here, right? Shen Meng looked at the Tang Chen Yupan in front of him and couldn't help but ask Li Hao, this is the most prosperous area in the entire Magic City. Logi is why, on the edge of the Huangpu River, the Tang Chen Yupan in front of him is the most prosperous in the entire Magic City. Luxurious and high-end apartment main residence. Why did Li Hao bring her here? Could it be that Li Hao's house is inside? You know, any one of these Thompson first-class houses costs hundreds of millions. Shen Meng was amazed and shocked. However, Li Hao didn't wait for an answer. Li Hao. A voice suddenly came from one side. This is a female voice. When Li Hao and Shen Meng heard this voice, they couldn't help but look to one side, and saw a grey Bentley Continental stopped beside them. On the passenger seat, the window was open, and there was a young woman looking at Li Hao. Li Hao couldn't help but be startled, looking at this woman, only to see that this woman looked very young, about the same size as himself, with a melon seed face, and beautiful makeup, very delicate. The next moment, the woman opened the car door and walked down directly. The woman was wearing a wrap skirt and high heels, and her figure was also very good. She was dressed very sexy. Looking at this woman, Li Hao felt that the other party seemed a little familiar, but he couldn't remember it for a while. Li Hao, it's really you? I'm Wang Dani, don't you remember me? I'm your high school classmate. The woman suddenly said to Li Hao in surprise, with a hint of resentment in her voice. High school classmate? Wang Dani? Li Hao suddenly remembered that there was such a person in his class before. Damn. Li Hao saw the other person's appearance, and finally overlapped with the appearance of a girl in his memory, and couldn't help but swear. You know, in his memory, the other person was a fat girl with a round face. This is like a completely different person. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 234. The Wang Dani in front of her was almost the same as the girl in her memory. Li Hao remembered that the girl in front of him seemed to have written a love letter to him before, and she had a crush on him. However, he didn't have any good impression of her at the time, and she was pretty average looking, so Li Hao rejected it directly. At this moment, Li Hao's eyes widened when he saw the other party's appearance. It was really unbelievable. How many times did it take to have a knife on the face to make it look like this? And these breasts, are they real? How great! Unexpectedly, I could meet a high school classmate here. Li Hao, why are you here in Magic City? It's been so long. What are you doing now? Wang Dani asked Li Hao immediately, her voice filled with a strange color. She remembered that she had confessed her love to Li Hao before, but this Li Hao actually rejected her. It was really abominable. Later, she spent money on surgery to make herself look better. Then after graduating from high school, she came to Shanghai without even going to college. But now, with her proud figure and stunning appearance, she has successfully gained the admiration of a successful man, who gives her endless money every month and lives in the most upscale community in this magical city. Yeah. Long time no see. Li Hao nodded lightly and responded, his voice neither salty nor bland. Danny? Is this your high school classmate? But at this moment, a man's voice came from behind. Following the sound, Li Hao and Shen Mange saw a middle-aged man, who looked to be in his 40s or 50s, wearing glasses, with a big belly, and a Rolex watch in his hand. He looked like a successful man. He got off the Bentley Continental and walked over. Well, honey, this is my high school classmate Li Hao. Wang Dani said immediately. Immediately afterwards, Wang Dani introduced Li Hao again. Li Hao, this is my husband Hong Tianyu. He is the boss of Tianhong Textile and is worth billions. There was a touch of pride in Wang Dani's voice, as if she was introducing something she was proud of. Tianhong Textile Group is one of the world's largest suppliers of coarse-spun cotton textiles. It specializes in the manufacturing and sales of high-value-added fashionable cotton textiles. Hong Tianyu is its boss, and he is worth billions. The boss. Wang Dani also met Hong Tianyu by chance. With her proud figure and appearance, she quickly gained the others' admiration, and then became a member of the list. Although she said she was her husband, in fact, she and the other party had not yet proven it. Hello. When Li Hao heard the other party's introduction, he nodded lightly and said in response, but there was a strange look in his eyes. How many billions is he worth? It's pretty awesome, but in Li Hao's opinion, it's really nothing. Husband. This husband is quite old. Li Hao, who is this? But at this moment, Wang Dani turned her attention to Shen Mange, who was standing next to Li Hao. A strange color flashed in her eyes, and she immediately asked Li Hao. Even though the other person was wearing glasses, it could still be seen that the other person seemed to be very good looking, and his figure was also extremely slim. This made Wang Dani condense again and couldn't help but feel a sense of comparison. I'm his girlfriend. Before Li Hao could speak, Shen Mange had already spoken and said directly. Wang Dani felt cold again when she heard Shen Mange's words. Li Hao was able to find such a beautiful girlfriend. But so what? She found better. This world is, after all, a world that focuses on money. Next to him, the middle-aged man named Hong Tianyu turned his attention to Shen Mange again, and his eyes suddenly condensed, with a flash of strange color. This boy's girlfriend is so beautiful, even more stunning than Wang Dani, who he slept with next to her. Especially the aura on her body, she is like a goddess. Even though she is wearing sunglasses, you can still tell that the other person's appearance is absolutely top-notch. Involuntarily, Hong Tianyu had an idea in his mind. A woman. Such as clothes. As long as you have money, you can change them at any time. Moreover, he was a little tired of playing with Wang Dani next to him, so it was almost time to change it. The one in the bowl was no longer fragrant. Hong Tianyu looked at Shen Mange at this moment, with a flash of light in his eyes, and an idea came to his mind. When he looked at Li Hao, there was a hint of disdain in his eyes. Alas, it is really a toad eating swan meat. Hello. So you are Donnie's high school classmate? Nice to meet you. I wonder what the little brother is doing now. This Hong Tianyu asked Li Hao with a smile on his face. The next moment, he inadvertently looked at Li Hao's side. Li Hao, are you still studying? Wang Dani asked directly. Li Hao nodded lightly. You're still studying? What a pity. What's the use of studying? What kind of job can you find after leaving school? I think it's better to start a business directly. Look at me, I started working and starting a business at the age of 18, and I also opened a company now. I'm worth several billion, isn't that good? Look, inside this Thomson Yupin, there is also my house. Hong Tianyu said to Li Hao in a serious tone again. Then he put his arm around Wang Dani, touching her waist, and said directly. Dani, ask your high school classmates to sit in our room. Yes. Li Hao, come sit upstairs. You haven't been to this Thomson Yupin before, have you? Wang Dani said to Li Hao again. Forget it. Li Hao shook his head slightly when he heard what the other party said, but he couldn't help laughing in his heart. Do you want to show off the house? Li Hao, this house cost my husband 160 million yuan. You probably can't afford it even if you earn a lifetime of money. It's not bad to go in and see it. Wang Dani said to Li Hao again, wanting Li Hao to follow him up. He. Hearing what the other party said, Li Hao laughed again. I forgot to say, in fact, I am also the owner here. Li Hao said lightly again. What? You are also the owner of this place? How is this possible? Li Hao, how can you afford to buy a house here? Wang Dani looked unconvinced. Even Shen Mange next to her was shocked by Li Hao's words. Li Hao actually has a house here? However, at this moment, Li Hao took out his phone again and made a call directly. And this phone number was the one that the system gave to Thomson Yupin when it rewarded him with a building. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 235. Are you the owner here? Haha. Are you kidding me? I basically know all the people in the 3 buildings and more than 100 households here. How come I've never seen you before? When Li Hao said that he was the owner of this place, Hong Zigong also said with a look of disbelief. There are a total of 4 luxury residences here, but only 3 of them have been sold and people have moved in. The other building, for some unknown reason, has never been sold at all, and the people who move in are all wealthy people. Bosses and the like. Hong Zaigang, as a local tycoon in the city, is also very famous in the city. He basically knows the other tycoon bosses who stay here, but he has never met Li Hao. Moreover, looking at the appearance of the guy in front of me, he is clearly a student, not a second-generation rich man. How could he possibly afford a first-class house in Thompson? Li Hao ignored the middle-aged man. He took out his mobile phone and made a call. And this phone number is exactly the house closing phone number left by the system when it rewarded Thompson with a first-class house. Ding ding ding. Hello, I am Zhang Qiang, the manager of Thompson Yupin Group's Magic City district. Who are you? A man's voice suddenly rang on the phone, and it turned out to be the district manager of Thompson's first-class Magic City. I'm Li Hao. Hello, Manager Zhang. I want to take over the house I bought at Thompson Yupin. I'm looking for you, right? Li Hao also said directly and reported his name. Li Hao? Are you Mr. Li Hao Li? Yes, yes, are you looking for me? Where are you now? Hearing Li Hao's voice, the man on the phone was suddenly shocked, with a hint of surprise in his voice, and he immediately asked Li Hao. I'm at the door of Thompson Yupin now. Li Hao said directly again. Okay. Please wait a moment, I'm at the sales center and I'll be out right away. The man on the phone said again. Okay. Li Hao responded and hung up the phone directly. The sales center of Thompson Yupin is not far away and can be seen at a glance. At this moment, Li Hao saw a man wearing trousers and a shirt coming out of the sales center not far away. Behind him were 2 beauties also wearing professional attire. They hurried towards the side. This man was shocked. It was Zhang Qiang, the district manager of Thompson Yupin. Just now, after he heard Li Hao's call, he suddenly felt turbulent in his heart. Who is Li Hao? That's the big owner of Thompson Yupin. A super wealthy person who bought an entire building. You must know that any house here costs hundreds of millions or even hundreds of millions, and this Li Hao can actually take over a building directly. How terrifying that is. What kind of rich man could buy an entire Thompson first-class building? Zhang Qiang was also extremely curious. When I received Li Hao's call at this moment, I was shocked and ran out immediately. The next moment, this man came directly in front of Li Hao and others. Excuse me, are you Mr. Li Hao Li? The man asked Hong Zaigang directly. In his opinion, this middle-aged man with eyes looked more like a rich man. It should be Li Hao who just called him, right? Huh? Are you Manager Zhang from Thompson First Grade? Why did you come out? Hong Zaigang was startled when he heard Zhang Qiang's words, and his eyes widened as he recognized Zhang Qiang. I'm not Li Hao, he is. Then, Hong Zaigang said directly again. Hearing Hong Zaigang's words, Zhang Qiang was suddenly stunned. Ah! Zhang Qiang looked at Li Hao in surprise, and when he saw Li Hao's appearance, he was even more horrified in his heart. Is this young man Li Hao? His. Zhang Qiang couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. So young? Hello, Mr. Li Li. Zhang Qiang looked shocked and immediately said to Li Hao. Li Hao nodded and said directly. The house that bought this first-grade Thompson house came from you, right? Yes. Zhang Qiang nodded again, and then said to Li Hao again. Mr. Li, please show me your ID for verification. Li Hao was also happy and took out his ID card directly from his pocket. Li Hao also carried this ID card with him. The next moment, when Zhang Qiang saw Li Hao's ID card, he was shocked again. No problem. The address is also correct and is the same as the recorded information. Hello Mr. Li, The 88 suites in Building 4 you purchased have been fully decorated. They were designed by Tony Donny, a famous designer from Chaguo. There are a total of 36 different styles. Please accept it? Zhang Qiang said to Li Hao again. But when Zhang Qiang's voice fell into the ears of Wang Dani and Hong Zaigang, their eyes widened again. What? Building number 4? Manager Zhang, you can't make a mistake, right? Isn't there always no sales in building number 4? What did he accept? Hong Zaigang said to Zhang Qiang with a confused look on his face, and Wang Dani next to him also looked confused. However, Zhang Qiang glanced at Hong Zaigang indifferently, looking at him as if he were a fool, but he frowned and said, "Who said there is no sale? This building has been bought by Mr. Li a long time ago." Zhang Qiang's words fell. What? What did you say? This building has been bought by him? How is this possible? Hong Zaigang said in disbelief. Bought a building? Is this true? Even Wang Dani next to him widened her eyes, covered her chest with a look of shock, and even her breathing was a little rapid, causing her magnificent chest to rise and fall constantly. Oh my God, Li Hao, you bought a building here. Even Shen Mange next to him was looking at Li Hao in shock at this moment, with a huge wave in his heart. He. It's just a building, no big deal. But at this time, Li Hao smiled and said, looking calm. But in the eyes of Shen Mange and others, it was shocking again. It's not a big deal? This is a building of Thomson Yupin. Just now, Manager Zhang said that there are a total of 88 units. You know, the unit price here is more than 100,000 or even more than 200,000 per square meter. Each house is a mansion of several hundred square meters, and each house is worth at least 100 million or even several hundred million. How much are these 88 houses worth? Hundreds of billions. This can no longer be described as simply luxurious. This is a super rich man. Mr. Li, the property rights of these houses have been processed, and they are all in these 2 boxes. Zhang Qiang said to Li Hao again, and the 2 women following behind him were holding 2 boxes in their hands, which actually contained one real estate certificate after another. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 236. Put these real estate certificates in my car first. Li Hao said directly again. Then he took out a car key from his trouser pocket and pressed it lightly. At the same time, the blue Rolls-Royce Cullinan behind actually flashed its lights and barked. This car is yours too. When Wang Dani saw this scene, she said in horror. Li Hao didn't speak, but he already explained the problem. Hong Zaigang's face had become a little ugly at this moment. What a slap in the face. Just now, he felt extremely proud of his worth of billions, and even looked arrogant. But at this moment, I really feel ashamed. What's a worth of billions? The other party just casually spent tens of billions to buy a building. But compared to the other party, he really pales into insignificance. Even cars can't compare to him. He drives a Bentley, but he drives a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Soon, the 2 women behind Zhang Qiang directly placed 2 boxes of real estate certificates on Li Hao's Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Let's go. Go up and have a look. Li Hao said to Shen Mange again. Shen Mange couldn't hold back his joy, and he was even more excited inside. This was a first-grade house owned by Thomson, the best house in the entire Magic City. Old classmate, let's go up and look at the house first, right? This is the first time I've come to Thomson Yupin to look at the house. I don't know how well it's decorated. At this time, Li Hao said calmly to Wang Dani again. When Wang Dani heard Li Hao's words, she was startled, her face changed slightly, she didn't know what to say, she just felt extremely sad in her heart. The next moment, Li Hao and Shen Mange went in directly under the leadership of Zhang Qiang. Looking at Li Hao's back, Hong Ziqiang's face became extremely ugly. As for Wang Dani, she felt as if she had missed something again. Li Hao and Shen Mange looked directly up from the first floor. As soon as they entered, Li Hao and Shen Mange were shocked by the decoration. The ultimate luxury, high-end atmosphere, magnificent. This is a European design style, very unique. This is the place to live. Mansion. Soon, the two entered the second house, and then the third house. As Zhang Qiang said, basically every set has a different design style. There are 88 sets in this building, with more than 30 design styles. Even the decoration of each house probably costs millions or even tens of millions. The higher you go, the wider the view becomes and the more luxurious the decoration becomes. The spacious living room has a fully transparent floor-to-ceiling window design and a large-scale viewing balcony, which can look around Shanghai 180 degrees. The designer has also designed a curved restaurant in a humane way, allowing residents to enjoy the beautiful views of the Bund and Huangpu River from multiple angles. Experience a double feast of taste and sight. Each set is decorated in a unique way, making people extremely fond of it. But Li Hao has a total of 88 sets. Looking at houses is very time-consuming. It took me a whole morning to look at only a few houses, and I looked at them intermittently. Li Hao would definitely not be able to live in the house in this building by himself. Even if relatives and friends came to live together, they would not be able to live in it. Manager Zhang, can you help me rent out these houses? Li Hao asked Zhang Qiang directly again. With so many houses, renting them out is a good option. Just collect rent every month, which is also a very considerable income. Sure. Zhang Qiang nodded immediately after hearing Li Hao's words. That's great. You can rent out all these houses for me, and I can keep the big one at the top for myself. Li Hao said directly again. So, it was such a happy decision. It's almost time for me to leave. Li Hao suddenly said to Shen Mange beside him. Huh? Are you leaving? When Shen Mange heard Li Hao's words, he was suddenly startled again, and his expression changed slightly. Yeah, I've been in Shanghai for a few days. The red carpet has gone and the house has been taken away. It's almost time to leave. There are still some things that need to be done. Li Hao said calmly again. This time I came to Magic City to accompany Shen Mange on the red carpet and collect the house at the same time. Now that the red carpet is gone and the house is closed, it's time to leave. Yeah. Okay. Come to Shanghai to see me next time you have time. I will also go back to Jiangbei when I have time. Shen Mange also said in a deep voice, but there was a touch of sadness and a touch of reluctance in his heart. It must be. Li Hao also said with a smile. At noon, Li Hao served as host, and the two of them had Western food together at the revolving restaurant above the Oriental Pearl Tower. Then, Li Hao drove to the airport. Sitting in the passenger seat was Shen Mange. Li Hao originally planned to go to the airport alone, but Shen Mange insisted on seeing him off. Rolls-Royce Cullinan speeds along. Soon, we arrived at the airport again. You can drive this car in Shanghai. I have a lot of cars anyway. Li Hao said directly to Shen Mange that he was going to leave the Rolls-Royce Cullinan in this magical city for Shen Mange to drive. Anyway, he had a lot of cars, so it would be convenient for him next time he came to the magical city. Hearing Li Hao's words, Shen Mange couldn't help but feel something in his heart. Shen Mange nodded. I'm leaving. You go back. The next moment, Li Hao said to Shen Mange again with a smile. Shen Mange nodded again, but his pretty face showed no interest. Li Hao didn't say anything more, turned around and walked towards the airport. However, at this moment, Li Hao. Behind him, another woman's voice came, and Shen Mange shouted to Li Hao. What's wrong? Li Hao couldn't help but turn around and looked at Shen Mange in surprise. But this time, a figure actually pounced directly towards him, then jumped straight into Li Hao's arms and hugged Li Hao. Well, Li Hao couldn't help but be stunned. Before Li Hao could react, a red lip was printed directly on Li Hao's lips. In an instant, Li Hao felt a touch of extreme softness on his lips. Damn. Forced to kiss again. But, quite comfortable. Is this a goodbye kiss? Before Li Hao could respond, Shen Mange actually stepped back and released his arm holding Li Hao. All I saw was that Shen Mange's face was red with embarrassment, and she looked extremely beautiful. I like you. Shen Mange plucked up the courage and spoke to Li Hao, expressing his love. Well. Li Hao was startled again. There are quite a few people who like me. Immediately, Li Hao smiled again. You, damn it. Hearing Li Hao's words, Shen Mange glared at Li Hao again and became angry instantly. Haha. Let's go. The next moment, Li Hao entered the airport directly without looking back. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 237. Li Hao walked into the airport without looking back, but a faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Kiss goodbye. This feels good. Like me? There are really many people who like me. Li Hao is telling the truth. What Li Hao didn't expect was that Shen Mange would kiss him directly and confess to him. Shen Mange looked at Li Hao's back as he walked in, but she was so angry that she stomped her feet. Humph. A cold snort came out of Shen Mange's mouth, and a hint of shame and anger emerged on her pretty face. This guy is too narcissistic, right? Shen Mange's pretty face was also burning. She didn't expect that she was so bold just now. Impulsive. But it was also the most real thought in her heart. Li Hao is really the most perfect boyfriend candidate in her heart. Not only is he handsome, but he is also so generous. Shen Mange feels extremely safe next to Li Hao. So, Shen Mange felt that she had to take the initiative, so there was the scene just now. But at this moment, Shen Mange was frightened by her own sincere action. She had kept her first kiss for more than 20 years, but she gave it away like this. Shen Mange thought of Qin Yaking, her best friend again. Yaking, I'm sorry. Shen Mange murmured, feeling a little complicated, but soon turned into determination. It can only be blamed on Li Hao being too good. Shen Mange couldn't help but like Li Hao. Shen Mange took the initiative to attack the person she liked, even if the other party was also the person her best friend liked. Yaking and Li Hao were not real boyfriend and girlfriend. Shen Mange drove the Rolls-Royce Cullinan that Li Hao left for her. Although she was a little reluctant to part with Li Hao, she was very happy at the moment. Although Li Hao only left this car for her to drive and didn't give it to her, there was basically no difference. Li Hao walked directly into the entrance and went directly to the boarding gate through the VIP channel. Li Hao had called the person in charge of his private plane before, and his private plane had been waiting for him there. Soon, Li Hao arrived at the boarding gate for his private plane without any obstacles. The captain and the exclusive flight attendants were already waiting there. When they saw Li Hao coming, they immediately smiled brightly. Boss. Boss. Dot. Yeah. Li Hao also nodded to them with a smile. Boss, are you going back to Jiangbei? At this time, the captain asked Li Hao again. Li Hao only said on the phone that he was ready to take off here, but did not say where he was going. The next moment, Li Hao shook his head again. No, fly to southern Xinjiang, it's big. Li Hao said directly to the captain. Big. When the captain heard what Li Hao said, a trace of doubt appeared on his face, and the exclusive flight attendants next to him were also surprised. However, no one asked any more questions. They just needed to obey the boss's words. There was no need to ask any more questions. The boss had his own arrangements. This was the awareness of a subordinate. Soon, Li Hao boarded his private plane. The reason why Li Hao went to southern Xinjiang was actually for one thing. Alchemy cauldron. He already had the god-level alchemy skills, and had already collected all the medicinal materials for the foundation building pill, but he still lacked an alchemy cauldron. From the mouth of Sanyang Genren, Li Hao learned that in southern Xinjiang, there were many alchemy cauldrons in the tribes of those tribes. So, Li Hao went to southern Xinjiang to search for an alchemy cauldron. Not long after, the plane took off directly. Li Hao lay down on the sofa, closed his eyes and rested his mind. There were two exclusive stewardesses beside him to serve Li Hao, one rubbing his shoulders and the other pressing his back. It was an incomparable enjoyment. Life is just like this. Enjoy it while you can. Enjoy it when you should. It took more than 3 hours to fly from Moda to Dali. This Dali is a very prosperous place in southern Xinjiang, with beautiful scenery. There is also an ancient city that is very famous in the whole Dawa country, the Dali Ancient City. The sky here is often blue and sunny. There is also a very famous lake here, named Yehu, because this lake is most beautiful at night and the night view is the most beautiful, so it is named after it. There is also a mountain here, located next to the Dali Ancient City, which is also very famous. Its name is Kangshan. In the south of the colorful clouds, there is Kangshan, a mountain located under the blue sky. The sky is blue, the wilderness is vast, and the wind blows Dali. It is very clear. With this Kangshan as the boundary, on one side is a modern city located on the edge of Yehu, and on the other side are many ancient clans that have been passed down from ancient times. Li Hao got off his private plane and prepared to walk out of the airport. But at this moment, a stewardess with a suitcase walked in front of him. This stewardess is tall and has an outstanding temperament. She has a small and exquisite nose, like a white jade sculpture, white teeth, and bright eyes, and a white oval face. She is definitely a goddess. Her appearance is even more outstanding than the exclusive stewardesses on his private plane. If you use appearance to score, if the full score is 100, then the appearance of the stewardess in front of him is at least above 90 points. The moment Li Hao saw the stewardess, he immediately let out a surprised sound. Because, Li Hao has seen the stewardess before. Isn't this the stewardess in the first-class cabin of the flight from Jiangbei to Zishan when he didn't have a private jet? At that time, she also provided him with many kinds of high-quality services, which left a deep impression on him. Li Hao still remembers the name of the stewardess, Chu Xiaoqing. It was a coincidence that he met her here. But what surprised Li Hao even more was that at this moment, there was a big exclamation mark on Chu Xiaoqing's head, flashing a brilliance that only Li Hao could see. Tip. Isn't this a walking tip? He met her again. But Li Hao remembered that there was no such mark on Chu Xiaoqing's head last time. Chu Xiaoqing in front of him hadn't seen him yet, and was about to walk past him in a hurry with her luggage, and Li Hao shouted directly. Beauty. When Li Hao shouted, Chu Xiaoqing's brows suddenly frowned, but she still tilted her head and looked over in the direction of Li Hao's voice. The next moment, Chu Xiaoqing's beautiful eyes suddenly widened, and Lian Shan also showed a look of surprise. Mr. Li. Mr. Li, why are you here? Chu Xiaoqing said to Li Hao in disbelief, extremely surprised, but also extremely pleasantly surprised in her heart. She was also impressed by Li Hao. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 238. She was also extremely impressed by this Li Hao, even extremely unforgettable. The young man in front of me is the major shareholder and chairman of Shanshui Group, and he is also the boss of the very famous American airline Meta Airlines. After the last time, Chu Xiaoqing felt that she would never meet Li Hao again. On the flight last time, she even took the initiative with the boy for the first time, but in the end she gained nothing. She also felt that she had missed a huge opportunity. Thinking of this, she often sighed. But what she didn't expect was that she would meet him today. Is it fate? What a coincidence! What a fate! At this time, Li Hao smiled and said to Chu Xiaoqing again. Yes. What a coincidence! Mr. Li, why are you here too? A bright smile appeared on Chu Xiaoqing's face, and she was extremely happy in her heart. He also said that he was destined to be with him. It's really fate. The eyes of the men passing by her were all staring straight at this moment, and they all fell on Chu Xiaoqing, feeling the desire for a man in their hearts. This stewardess is simply stunning, so beautiful. But at this moment, Li Hao frowned slightly. At this moment, Li Hao suddenly saw a hint of dark red appearing between Chu Xiaoqing's eyebrows, and a flash of green light suddenly flashed in her eyes. But Chu Xiaoqing's reaction was instantaneous, and it passed by in a flash, as if it had never happened, and it looked very normal. But Li Hao's heart suddenly condensed. Not normal. There is something wrong with this Chu Xiaoqing. As an alchemy monk, Li Hao's perception was already very keen, and he suddenly felt that there must be something wrong with the body of the beautiful stewardess Chu Xiaoqing in front of him. But Li Hao didn't see it for a while. Perhaps he could only know the specific situation by touching Chu Xiaoqing's body and entering his perception into Chu Xiaoqing's body. Could it be that the exclamation mark given by the system is about this? Come here to do something. Li Hao said calmly to Chu Xiaoqing again. As he spoke, he inadvertently looked at the reminder above Chu Xiaoqing's head slightly. Then, the system simply deducted another 20,000 yuan from Li Hao's bank account. Ding dong, this beautiful stewardess in front of you has been poisoned by witchcraft. If you want to get more information, please click downward arrow. The next moment, the system prompt sounded again. A system prompt about Chu Xiaoqing appeared. Li Hao was shocked when he saw this prompt message. What? This Chu Xiaoqing was actually poisoned? Which poison? The poison of witchcraft is a harmful technique used by those who specialize in witchcraft. Li Hao had only heard that it was very famous in southern Xinjiang, but Li Hao did not expect that it actually existed, and that he had just met him when he came to southern Xinjiang. Li Hao also didn't expect that the beautiful stewardess in front of him was actually possessed by witchcraft. It seemed that someone wanted to harm her, or wanted her to do something. Fortunately, I met myself. It can only be said that it is really fate. This Chu Xiaoqing is lucky. Now that he has encountered it, Li Hao has to figure it out, and he has to at least help Chu Xiaoqing solve this witchcraft. The next moment, Li Hao simply clicked on the arrow. More prompt messages appeared again. The art of witchcraft and voodoo is divided into witchcraft and voodoo. The stewardess was infected by the obedient voodoo. In voodoo, a voodoo insect has been planted in her body. If you want to obtain the art of removing the voodoo, please click downward arrow. The system is worthy of being a system, and it has clearly explained the witchcraft in Chu Xiaoqing's body at this moment. Li Hao was suddenly shocked again. Is it the voodoo in witchcraft? There are actually voodoos. Li Hao murmured, with a glimmer of light flashing in his eyes. Obedient gu, as the name suggests, is a voodoo that makes people obedient. It can achieve the purpose of controlling the opponent through the voodoo in the opponent's body. Even if he is not nearby, he can directly control the voodoo remotely, thereby remotely overriding the opponent's actions. The Chu Xiaoqing in front of her had a gu worm planted in her body. Li Hao's eyes suddenly condensed again. What an evil voodoo! Without hesitation, Li Hao clicked the down arrow again. Ding dong, get the method to remove the poison first, kill the person who planted the poison, and the poison will die directly. Second, induce the power of thunder to enter the opponent's body, kill the poison, and severely injure the person who planted the poison. The system's beep sounded immediately, and the message appeared again. It was the method to remove the poison, and the system directly gave Li Hao two methods to remove the poison. The first one is to directly kill the person who caused the poison, and then the poison in Chu Xiaoqing will naturally be cured. The second one actually wanted to induce the power of thunder to enter Chu Xiaoqing's body and kill the goo insect. Goo insects are also nourished by the spiritual power of the person who cast the poison. Using spiritual power is basically useless and can only be burned out with the power of thunder. As for the power of thunder, Li Hao had directly obtained the Nine Heavens thunder technique very early on. It was not a piece of cake to use a little thunder power. The biggest problem was to attract the thunder into Chu Xiaoqing's body. "Mr. Li, how many days will you stay in Dali?" At this time, this Chu Xiaoqing asked Li Hao again. The reason why she asked this question was that Chu Xiaoqing actually wanted to travel a long distance with Li Hao. And she now has a short distance flight and will fly back here in the afternoon. Sighed. "I think I'll stay for a day or two, but I'm not sure yet," Li Hao said directly again. "Great. Mr. Li, can we have dinner together tonight?" After hearing Li Hao's words, Chu Xiaoqing asked again. "Of course it's no problem, but won't you go to work today?" Li Hao said with a smile. "There is a round trip and I will be back in Dali in the afternoon," Chu Xiaoqing said directly again, with a hint of happiness in her voice. "Then I'll go in first, Mr. Li, and contact you later." Immediately afterwards, Chu Xiaoqing said again, and then prepared to go to the airport first. She and Li Hao also left each other's phone numbers and added WeChat so that they could contact each other directly when they came back in the afternoon. "Wait a moment." But at this moment, Li Hao's voice came again, calling Chu Xiaoqing directly. Chu Xiaoqing looked at Li Hao doubtfully. Are you feeling unwell?" Li Hao asked Chu Xiaoqing again. "Huh? Not feeling well?" Hearing Li Hao's words, Chu Xiaoqing was stunned for a moment. "Are you feeling unwell?" The next moment, Chu Xiaoqing's beautiful eyes suddenly lit up. The other party was obviously asking him if his aunt was here? No. Chu Xiaoqing's pretty face couldn't help but blush, and she said weakly. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 239. Chu Xiaoqing did not expect that Li Hao would suddenly ask her if she felt uncomfortable. In her opinion, Li Hao was clearly asking her if her aunt was here. Could it be that Li Hao wanted something from her? "Fortunately, my aunt didn't come, otherwise she would have missed it." Chu Xiaoqing immediately replied weakly, her pretty face couldn't help but blush. Li Hao was startled again when he heard Chu Xiaoqing's words. "No discomfort? It should be that the goo insect in Chu Xiaoqing's body has not reacted yet. But if we wait for this goo insect to react, it might not be easy to solve." But just when Chu Xiaoqing's words came out, suddenly, Chu Xiaoqing's face suddenly turned pale, and she suddenly felt a sense of dizziness coming over her. Chu Xiaoqing felt as if her whole body had no strength at this moment, and it felt as if her whole body's energy had been drained out in an instant. Seeing that Chu Xiaoqing's body went limp, she was about to faint. With quick eyes and quick hands, Li Hao came to Chu Xiaoqing's side in an instant and held her firmly. At the same time, Li Hao's hand was already on Chu Xiaoqing's white jade arm. In an instant, a force of perception suddenly entered Chu Xiaoqing's body, and everything in Chu Xiaoqing's body was within Li Hao's perception. Soon, Li Hao sensed the existence of a very small silkworm chrysalis-like thing in Chu Xiaoqing's heart, which was frantically absorbing Chu Xiaoqing's energy, that is, vitality. It won't kill Chu Xiaoqing directly, but it will make Chu Xiaoqing's body extremely weak. That silkworm chrysalis was the goo worm that was planted on Chu Xiaoqing. It was frantically absorbing Chu Xiaoqing's vitality, but at this moment, the goo worm suddenly stopped again. This goo insect seemed to have a conscious existence. It sensed a hint of danger at this moment, and then instantly curled up and turned into a cocoon-like existence. Li Hao condensed slightly. Is this a goo insect? It's a good trick. Li Hao murmured, and he became interested in this witchcraft. It is quite a good method to plant poisonous insects without anyone noticing, so as to achieve the purpose of controlling the other party. Although it seems rather sinister and evil, in the final analysis, there is no distinction between good and evil in magic. Whether it is evil or not depends on the person who performs the magic. Immediately afterwards, Li Hao entered Chu Xiaoqing's body with another ray of spiritual power. Chu Xiaoqing's body recovered some strength and her face became slightly rosy again. Are you okay? Li Hao immediately asked Chu Xiaoqing again. The goo stopped trying to devour Chu Xiaoqing and hid. Thank you. I don't know what happened. I was a little dizzy just now, but I'm much better now. Chu Xiaoqing immediately said to Li Hao, with a beautiful smile on her face again. She was very grateful. She didn't know why, but she had often felt dizzy in the past 2 days. She thought it was because she didn't get enough rest. For the sake of... Well, I know a little bit about medical skills and I can tell that there is something wrong with your body. How about I take you to a hotel to have a rest? Li Hao said to Chu Xiaoqing again that it would be inconvenient to detoxify Chu Xiaoqing here. It would be better to go to the hotel and maybe give Chu Xiaoqing acupuncture. Ah! When Chu Xiaoqing heard Li Hao's words, she couldn't help being shocked again. Go to the hotel? Rest. Sure enough, just as she thought just now, the other party was too direct. But I still have a flight. Forget it, I'll tell my bestie and let her support me. Chu Xiaoqing said weakly again. She wanted to refuse, but when the words came to her lips, she still agreed from the bottom of her heart. She only felt that her pretty face was even redder at this moment, and she was even more shy. The next moment, Chu Xiaoqing picked up her phone again and made a call. Jialan, I'm feeling a little unwell. There's another flight to Kunyang today. Can you help me fly? When the other party picked up the phone, Chu Xiaoqing immediately said again. That's so kind of you. The girl on the other side of the phone readily agreed, making Chu Xiaoqing extremely happy again. Let's go. Li Hao said again. Chu Xiaoqing nodded obediently, and then followed Li Hao out of the airport again. Well, go to the hotel I booked. I haven't checked out yet. After leaving the airport, Chu Xiaoqing said to Li Hao again. Can. Li Hao replied directly. As a result, the two of them took a taxi and headed to the hotel where Chu Xiaoqing was staying. In just over 20 minutes, the two of them arrived at Dalita Seaview Hotel. This is a hotel located on the edge of Night Lake with beautiful scenery. When Chu Xiaoqing took Li Hao into the room she opened, Chu Xiaoqing's head was still dizzy and she felt very dreamy. What happened to you today? He actually brought a boy to the room he owned. This is something that has never happened to her in her entire life. This room is very exquisitely decorated in the style of a famous hotel, and you can see the beautiful Night Lake view from the floor-to-ceiling windows. In the room, Chu Xiaoqing felt a little helpless, a little overwhelmed, but at the same time at a loss. But at this moment, you've been poisoned. Li Hao's voice came from the front again. Ah! Goo poison. Hearing Li Hao's words, Chu Xiaoqing's face suddenly changed. She often flew to southern Xinjiang and had heard some rumors about local witchcraft. That's right. There is a goo worm in your body, which is devouring your vitality from time to time, so you often feel weak and dizzy recently. Li Hao said directly to Chu Xiaoqing. What? There is a goo worm in my body? Ah! Where is it? Where is it? What should I do? Mr. Li, you said before that you know medical skills, is it true? Hearing Li Hao's words, Chu Xiaoqing's face turned pale again in an instant, and the whole person was startled, and said in panic. No wonder she often dizzy recently, it turned out that she was poisoned by goo. Of course it's true. Come, lie down, I'll give you a few injections, and you'll be fine after killing this goo worm. Li Hao said again. Chu Xiaoqing nodded obediently when she heard what Li Hao said, and then said to Li Hao. Mr. Li, can you turn around first? Li Hao was stunned. Turn around? What for? Li Hao asked a little puzzled. Needle acupuncture, do you need to take off your clothes? Chu Xiaoqing said weakly again, her pretty face was already blushing, but her jade hands had already started to unbutton her shirt. Just take off the outer clothes? Li Hao was stunned and wanted to say that there was no need to take off the clothes, but when the words came to his lips, he changed his mind. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 240. Li Hao didn't expect that Chu Xiaoqing would take off her clothes to cooperate with him in acupuncture. Li Hao wanted to say that it was not necessary. But Li Hao still turned his head and heard a rustling sound behind him. It's okay. Come on. Soon, Chu Xiaoqing's voice came again. But Li Hao turned his head again and saw a beautiful body lying on the bed, wearing only the clothes inside, with towering parts, snow-white skin, and a flat belly without a trace of excess fat. It was so perfect. Seeing this scene, Li Hao's body instantly gave rise to a wave of hotness, and the blood could not help but surge. Hiss. It's so damn tempting. Fortunately, Li Hao is already a Jindan cultivator with amazing self-control, otherwise, I'm afraid he would be impulsive. Forcibly suppressing the impulse in his heart, Li Hao sat directly on the edge of the bed. Chu Xiaoqing on the bed closed her eyes, her pretty face was full of shame, and she didn't dare to look at Li Hao. And Li Hao no longer hesitated. Then I will start. It may be a little itchy and painful, but believe me, I will be gentle and it will be over soon. Li Hao said directly to Chu Xiaoqing again. Yeah. Chu Xiaoqing responded, but still did not open her eyes. Seeing this scene, a gleam of brilliance flashed in Li Hao's eyes. The next moment, a strong momentum suddenly emanated from Li Hao's body. Li Hao directly activated the power of cultivation. In Li Hao's hand, a jade needle suddenly appeared, which was the Tianqian 9 needles. Then, there was a spiritual light shining on this jade needle, and Li Hao's spiritual power of cultivation was directly injected into the jade needle. The next second, the jade needle held by Li Hao was directly pierced into Chu Xiaoqing's chest. When Li Hao's first jade needle was inserted, Chu Xiaoqing only felt a tingling sensation in her chest, and then it seemed that a coolness seemed to enter her body. After the first needle was inserted, Li Hao took out the second jade needle and inserted it quickly. When the second needle was inserted, the goo worm in Chu Xiaoqing's body, in her heart, turned into a cocoon, and seemed to be awakened at this moment, feeling a threat. The next breath, the goo worm moved and began to absorb the blood and qi from Chu Xiaoqing's heart. Ah! Chu Xiaoqing suddenly felt a heart-wrenching pain, screamed, and couldn't help but cover her chest with her hands. Hold it! Li Hao said directly. One hand pressed Chu Xiaoqing's hand, and the other hand, the third jade needle appeared again, and then accurately pierced Chu Xiaoqing's heart again. When this jade needle was inserted, the goo worm in Chu Xiaoqing's heart was stimulated again, and it wanted to escape from Chu Xiaoqing's heart. However, how could Li Hao let it run away? The fourth jade needle in his hand had already been stabbed down as fast as flowing water. 4 jade needles and 4 spiritual powers entered Chu Xiaoqing's heart, directly forming a spiritual cage around the poisonous insect, trapping the insect directly and making it unable to escape from all sides. The next moment, Li Hao directly grasped the 5th jade needle. The 9 heavens thunder method started to work immediately. A touch of thunder power was instantly generated and wandered on the jade needle. Although it was only a tiny trace, it contained a destructive force. Then, a spiritual power of cultivation wrapped the thunder power. Li Hao dropped the needle again, accurately stabbing it in the center of the previous 4 jade needles, and that was where the poisonous insect was located. The jade needle fell, and the thunder power wrapped in spiritual power instantly entered Chu Xiaoqing's heart, and then the thunder power directly descended on the poisonous insect. Hiss. The poisonous insect seemed to make a sharp hiss at this moment, and was killed in an instant, and then turned into a stream of pure blood energy, which spread to all parts of Chu Xiaoqing's body. Chu Xiaoqing couldn't help but groan at this moment. It was not painful, but comfortable. At this moment, there seemed to be a warm current flowing in her body, making her body a little hot. Okay. At this moment, Li Hao's voice sounded next to her again. Several jade needles had been collected by Li Hao. The poison was removed. The next moment, Chu Xiaoqing sat up from the bed and went to the toilet. She only felt that there seemed to be impurities in her body that needed to be discharged. It was when the poisonous insect in Chu Xiaoqing's body was killed by Li Hao's thunder power. On the other side of Kangshan Mountain, in a Miaozhang clan 200 kilometers away. In a bamboo building. A bald young man in ethnic costume was sitting on a straw mat. In front of him, there were 2 wooden cups. There were some tiny poisonous insects twisting in the wooden cups. It looked very disgusting, but the bald young man had long been accustomed to it. His fingers were placed in the wooden cups, and blood flowed out. He was using his own blood to feed the poisonous insects in the wooden cups. But the next moment, puff! The bald young man uttered a wow and spit out a mouthful of blood. The whole person's breath instantly withered a lot at this moment, and his face became extremely pale. Ah! A painful voice came out of the young man's mouth. Who is it? Who on earth killed my poisonous insects? The young man shouted out in a voiceless voice. Just at this moment, a goo worm he planted in the body of a stewardess was killed, causing him to be severely injured. The goo worm was a creature that lived with him and had a connection with each other. When the goo worm died, he was directly affected. The young man looked horrified and unbelievable. Who killed the goo worm he planted? How is this possible? He just wanted to take a look at the stewardess and make her his plaything at night. He didn't expect to encounter such a thing. This was the first time such a thing happened. The next moment, the young man endured the severe pain of being severely injured, left the bamboo building, and went deep into the clan, where his master lived. In the hotel, Chu Xiaoqing stood in front of the mirror, looking at herself. At this moment, she felt indescribably comfortable. She just felt that she seemed to be a little different from before. The skin seemed to have become better, and the whole person became younger. A blessing in disguise. This is the benefit that Chu Xiaoqing gained from the killing of the poisonous insect and the transformation into blood and vitality. Ding dong, congratulations to the host, you helped the beautiful stewardess successfully remove the poison, and you will be rewarded with witchcraft and magic witchcraft. But at this moment, the system prompt sounded again in Li Hao's mind. A huge amount of information directly poured into Li Hao's head. It was the witchcraft and magic witchcraft. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 241. A powerful message poured into Li Hao's mind. It was like being preached, and he didn't even need to comprehend it himself. In an instant, Li Hao had mastered the witchcraft and the magic goo technique. The witchcraft is a wonderful soul cause and effect technique, which can affect the target's luck and vitality through a connection in the dark, so as to achieve the purpose of cursing the other party. As for the magic goo technique, it is goo technique, but it is not an ordinary goo technique, but the source of all goo techniques. Malice goo, stone goo, love goo, snake goo, harm goo, swelling goo, epilepsy goo. All kinds of goo techniques were controlled by Li Hao at this moment. There are 3,000 great ways, and this goo technique is also profound and wonderful. It has the same purpose as the beast control technique, but the beast control technique is to establish a connection with the monster beast to achieve the purpose of controlling the monster beast for one's own use, while this goo technique is just to control the goo worm and let it enter the target's body without anyone noticing, so as to achieve the purpose of controlling the other party. A smile appeared on Li Hao's face. He didn't expect that he had just developed some interest in this witchcraft, and this system actually rewarded him with this witchcraft and magic witchcraft. This system is really considerate. In the hotel, in the room, Chu Xiaoqing has put on her clothes again. Have you met anyone special in the past 2 days? Li Hao asked Chu Xiaoqing again. Chu Xiaoqing was shocked again when she heard Li Hao's words. After a moment, she suddenly widened her eyes. Could it be that guy? Chu Xiaoqing said immediately. Li Hao looked at her. Chu Xiaoqing continued to say. Yesterday, when I was walking around the ancient city, basking in the sun and drinking tea, there was a guy from Miaozhong staring at me next to me. Chu Xiaoqing thought of the scene he encountered yesterday. The guy was sitting opposite him, staring at her non-stop, with a smirk. Thinking about it now, Chu Xiaoqing couldn't help but feel a little creepy in his heart. Hearing Chu Xiaoqing's words, Li Hao's eyes suddenly condensed. Li Hao had a premonition that he might meet the guy who put the poison on Chu Xiaoqing. If he really met him, he would not mind solving it. It was a sin for such a guy who harmed girls to live in the world. Since it's okay, then you have a good rest. I'll go out for a while. Li Hao said directly to Chu Xiaoqing again. Ah, where are you going? Chu Xiaoqing couldn't help asking. To do something. Li Hao said directly that the main purpose of coming to southern Xinjiang this time was to find a cauldron for alchemy, so Li Hao was going to go to Wankangshan. Well, tell me when you're done. I'll wait for you. Chu Xiaoqing nodded again. Okay. Li Hao smiled and left directly. Li Hao left the hotel directly and went to the ancient city. Dali Ancient City, a very famous ancient city in China. Xiaoguan wind, Shangguan flowers, Kangshan snow, night lake moon. Li Hao walked in the ancient city of Dali, and there was a prosperous scene everywhere. Tourists from all over the world came in an endless stream, and beautiful and rhythmic melodies kept ringing in his ears. Li Hao walked from one end of the ancient city to the other, preparing to pass through the ancient city and then go to Kangshan. Only by crossing this Kangshan can he enter the territory of the tribes and clans in southern Xinjiang. Excuse me, have you seen this girl? Just as Li Hao was walking in the ancient city, a voice came from the bustling crowd. Li Hao looked in the direction of the voice and saw a woman in her 50s with gray hair, holding some printed pictures in her hands, and asked the people next to her. No, no. Excuse me, have you seen this girl? No. Excuse me. The woman kept asking the people next to her. Her voice was full of fatigue, but she still kept asking people, clearly looking for someone, but these people had never seen her. Li Hao's eyes narrowed slightly when he saw this scene. The middle-aged woman's eyes were filled with despair, but she refused to give up. The next moment, the middle-aged woman came to him and asked Li Hao, "Have you seen the girl in the picture?" The middle-aged woman asked Li Hao, showing him the printed picture in her hand. Li Hao saw that the picture showed a pretty girl, about 20 years old, dressed beautifully. This is clearly a missing person notice. Li Hao shook his head and asked, "Auntie, what happened?" Li Hao knew the general situation when he saw the missing person notice, but he wanted to know the details. My daughter is missing. I have been looking for her for more than 10 days. Woo woo woo, she just came to this ancient city to play for a while. She is only 20 years old. Hearing Li Hao's question, the middle-aged woman's emotions suddenly became agitated and she couldn't help crying. It turned out that it was her daughter who was missing. Did you call the police? Li Hao asked again. I did, but even the police couldn't find her. It's been more than 10 days, and there's still no news. They also said that many girls go missing here every year, and they can't do anything about it. How could they do this? The middle-aged woman was speaking with great emotion, and her voice was filled with an irrepressible anger. However, when Li Hao heard these words, he was shocked. Many girls go missing every year? No way. Li Hao felt a chill in his heart. Such a thing actually happened? Auntie, do you have your daughter's things on you? Li Hao immediately asked the middle-aged woman again. Ah! The middle-aged woman was stunned for a moment, not understanding what Li Hao was going to do. I can tell fortunes, tell your daughter one. Li Hao said lightly. The middle-aged woman was stunned again, with a look of disbelief on her face, looking at Li Hao with tears in her eyes, but she saw that Li Hao didn't look like he was joking. This hairband is what my daughter often wears, do you think it's okay? The middle-aged woman took off a hairband on her hand and handed it to Li Hao. Li Hao was shocked again when he saw this hairband. There was actually another hair, and this hair was as black as ink. It didn't look like the woman's hair, but her daughter's hair. That's even better. Li Hao took the hair tie directly, and then combed the hair down and put it in his hand. Okay. Li Hao directly rolled the long hair into a circle and put it in the palm of his left hand. Then, Li Hao's right hand was dotting in the air again. Li Hao directly started the witchcraft, and then drew a circle around the hair in the palm of his hand again. Draw a circle to curse you.